The American people are in charge, and they deserve nothing less. Together we can do these things, and in doing so we can begin the drive for a smaller, less costly, and more accountable government that honors our Constitution and respects the will of the American people. These ideas are at the core of our pledge to America. We've tried it President Obama's way. We've tried it Washington's way. It hasn't worked. It's time to put the people back in charge. Thank you for your time, and may God bless the United States of America.
The 2010 elections were billed as a political earthquake. Things are going to change. We're going to see all these radical things about us become anew. But the point is that the big bloated government that we all are subjected to, and sometimes ends up terrorizing some Americans, is still going to be there. The surveillance state is not going to go away. It will continue to engulf us. The military empire, which is spinning out of control, which is eventually, as so many experts now believe, is going to bankrupt the American government, is going to continue. The power of the presidency will continue to expand with an inept Congress that fails to give oversight to the president and basically doesn't do its job. Most Americans are going to be strapped financially. I mean, many people are still going to lose their homes, their jobs. The economy looks awful. 2012, some economists are saying that it could be worse than what we're seeing now. The family structure looks like it will continue to break down. Kids in this country today are without a moral rudder. The public schools enforce a draconian uniformity, basically conditioning our young people to living in an Orwellian state. With 25 lobbyists, at least 25 lobbyists per congressman, basically what we get from our so-called representatives is directed by corporations which fund the people that run for office and decide how they vote and what we get as American citizens. Just think about this. $4 billion was spent by candidates on the 2010 elections. Take some of that money, and this money did not go to help the American people. Take just a bit of this money and apply it to social needs such as poor children, homeless people, getting people back in their homes, creating jobs. It could have been very, very beneficial, but it was spent on political candidates that often some people complained when they go to vote, they have a tough time deciding who they're going to vote for because they're getting establishment candidates, again, funded by corporations. When it comes to the voting process, those who decide who runs for office want us all stirred up. Americans watching television get most of their information from either political ads when they vote or talking heads, which assure them that the most important thing they can do is vote. The great leaders of the past understood that voting was just one small step along the way. It was not something that you do, you go to the polls, then you go home and rest for 2 years and hope things work out, hoping that those that you voted for are going to change things. The people who wrote our Constitution, remember, began the Constitution with those 3 amazing words, we the people. They understood that the government was not some kind of foreign entity, but that we were the government. It's not how you vote, Henry David Thoreau said, but it's the kind of person that you roll out of bed in the morning. And what do I mean by that? It's understanding what true freedom is all about and how we attain it. Freedom is a spiritual thing. It's really eloquently set forth by Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence, where he says that all men are created equal, that the Creator gives them certain absolute rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Then Jefferson goes on to say, if you violate these spiritual principles, the spiritual roots of freedom, Americans have a right to alter or abolish their government. The great dissenters of the past, like Martin Luther King, understood this. They understood that voting, if you're going to vote, and they believe that you should vote, voting was just that small step along the way. He decided that, though, that voting most of the time didn't get the results that we need, and it doesn't. He urged people to be very active. He said we need to be nonviolent gadflies, and he urged people to practice what he called militant nonviolent resistance against the government. In other words, get involved. So, while voting may be important, the most important thing you can do as a citizen is, on a daily basis, if possible, be involved in your government at the local level. Sometimes it may require carrying a picket sign. It may require going to board meetings, but you have to get involved. If you don't get involved, those who run our government, which has become a foreign entity apart from us, know very well that most Americans are going to go home and sit down their butts and not do anything. What you need to do is become involved in your government. Are you going to be a nonviolent gadfly, as Martin Luther King encouraged us to do, or are you going to sit around and wait for something to happen? And folks, it won't happen unless you make it happen.